welcome to tonight's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. As always, I'm Paul, and we are always brought to you by RU Game, the best video game comic book collectible shop in all of Pickville, Ohio, located at 124 North Sunset Drive, Pickville, Ohio, 45356. And tonight we have a special guest, Jay Cordray. Yes, the Jay. He is here going to talk G.I. Joes, comic books, and all kinds of other stuff. Jay is on another podcast, and take it away, Jay. Give your little intro here.
Howdy, Joe fans. That's what I usually say on our show. Yeah, like Paul said, I'm on a show called Talking Joe. It's what we do is read and review Joe comics. It started originally with the ARIH series, the Marvel one, and one of the hosts recently left, one of the founders, and when he left, I jumped on. And when I came on, we kind of did a second show, which is covering the Devil's Due era. That's what we're reading right now. We just finished up the Josh Blaylock run, and yesterday we actually interviewed Josh. Spent about 3 hours talking to him, which was really cool. And yeah, it's been really neat. I'd never read that run before, so it was neat to jump in. And that was part of my spiel when I joined the show. I said, because they talked about, well, what are we going to do now? Now that the Chief's leaving, they thought, well, we've had a lot of people say you guys should read the Devil's Due stuff. And I was a fan on Facebook, and I told them, I was like, hey, I've never read that stuff before. I said, what if somebody comes on and joins that's never read it? And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. So that's what happened. And yeah, it was neat. Like I said, getting to talk to Blaylock yesterday. We finished out his 25 issue run, and then we just recorded a special covering the 6-issue G.I. Joe versus Transformers that he wrote, which was kind of cool, and then talked to him. So now we're moving on to Frontline.
Well, when you get to America's Elite, let me know, and I will scan, because I have a shit ton of original artwork from that run.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because I was friends with Josh Metters, the artist on the book, on it for the
What issues did he do?
He did America's Elite 0 through crap. You're asking me too quick. He did. I want to say he might have done the entire America's Elite run on the artwork.
No, I think Caselli did some of it.
But
and then the end of it was somebody else.
No, second. Let me see if I pull this up here. This is what's nice.
We're both sitting here at computers.
Yeah.
I'm kind of challenged at some of this stuff, though. I don't want to try. This is the first time I've used this particular setup, so I don't want to go into my extensive hard drive and then lose you.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, let's see. Pencilers was Josh Metters, and he was, let's see. He might have did, okay, yeah, because that went a lot longer than I remember. So I think he did. It
was like 43 issues or 39 or something like that. At least 30.
It says 24 issues, and then the G.I. Joe Declassified, which was part of that. Okay.
Maybe they changed
this has got 36.
I guess we haven't, like I said, we haven't gotten to those yet, and I haven't read them, and I've purposely not read ahead on anything. So it's like I just read what we're covering for that week's episode, or for So yeah, it's been neat to tackle that stuff as a first time reader.
I know. I got a bunch of the pages that he's done. I've got 30.
That would be really cool. You'll have to.
Like 30 pages, I believe.
Wow. From different comics?
Some of them. I mean, I actually at one point I almost sold them, and then I was like, no, I can't. I can't do it. That's part of my G.I. Joe collection, and
that's like, if you need a kidney.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get it is the black market, and you need some cash. Well, that's the only time it would be acceptable to sell original art.
And what's cool about it is one day while I was sitting there, and I think we were in Pittsburgh. Josh was sitting over there, and he's just doodling, and he's got pages, and the whole entire time he's just doodling shipwreck in the corner of the book on the page. So I have this page that has a little shipwreck
Oh yeah.
face in the upper, in the, like the upper right hand corner. The weird part about it is that he doesn't get to do the artwork. Like almost nobody is in their traditional like gear in his run.
Yeah.
So
Well, shipwreck isn't for the entire time.
yeah,
Like
because he's got like
when Devils do, yeah,
the sweater and the beanie hat.
toboggan. Yeah.
The run that he has that I know I have is the ones where the Cobra infiltrates GI Joe.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't got there yet.
Okay.
So
no, I don't. Okay, then I can't fucking ruin it for you. Spoiler alert.
we like I said, we got to the end of Blaylock's run, which was Serpentor coming back, and then Cobra Commander kicking him off the cliff, and that's where we left off. Have you watched any of our YouTube videos?
I've watched bits and pieces. I watch them while I'm at the shop. And that's the only problem is I watch them while I'm working, so I catch little bits and pieces.
So do I. And I just kind of glance at it sometimes.
Well, that's like I've been on another. I appear on another podcast too from time to time. Fandemonious, shout out to you guys. I did not realize how long I talk because literally it's sometimes it's like 3, and I think the last time we were there was 5 of us, and we're just sitting here, we're talking and telling us because I'm the old man in the group, as I think the next one is like 10 years younger than me. So I mean they're literally like my kids' age. my son Trevor went to school with one of them, so
they probably are like, let's get Paul on here. Okay, yeah, he's cool.
And I love
the old hippie that runs the comic shop.
And the thing is I love being on that show because we sit there and the worst part about it is we totally lose track of time on that one.
Oh yeah.
And you'll be running and talking, and all of a sudden they're like, dude, we're 2.5 hours in. I'm like, oh shit, okay. So
yeah, that's the way with us. We always go really long. Like at first we were kind of like our very first episode was we just covered issue 1, and even that, just one episode, we talked for at least 2 hours, if not 2.5 or 3. And then the next episode was like 2 through 4. And that one again, I don't think there's been an episode that's been less than 2 hours.
See,
because we go really in depth. I mean, we don't go every panel, but we go, we'll pick out panels and things anything that sticks out to us that, that catches our eye or makes us think or whatever, or that we like. We shout out to stuff. We criticize a lot, but we also do shout out a lot, I think.
And the cool part about it is, as I met Blaylock and I've known Blaylock for years, and I haven't seen him in a while, so it's probably he drifted off for him, and the fact that I know him, and I mean I used to get Devils Do Christmas cards.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I've still got them floating around here. It's signed by
that's cool.
Yeah.
He was telling all kinds of stories. We started at like 1 o'clock, and he went, and it was almost 3 o'clock when we were done, because we'd like ask him a question, and then I swear it was a walk down memory lane because he'd just talk and talk. And we just sit back and listen. We were like, oh, this is so cool. Listen to all this, behind the scenes stuff.
Oh yeah. What's fun about him was I met him in Indianapolis at one of the little Indianapolis comic book shows. He was pushing. They had just got the rights to GI Joe.
Oh yeah.
So this is when it was still through Image. Devils Do Image, and I have the original convention. So it's got this big black bar across the bottom, has the art, and it's signed by everybody who worked on the book. And that's when he got.
He talked about that. He talked about doing that tour and going around and hitting shops and stuff. And yeah, it was really neat.
Well, the cool part about it is that we did a big trade. I traded him a bunch of the old school GI Joe comics that I had at that show for the new stuff that he was. So I had, like I said, I got all these books that are signed still in my personal collection. And so Brandon and Joe have met him when they were little. So Joe has a comic book signed from him. It's like, yo, Joe, to Joe.
That's cool.
And that whole crew used to be really, really cool. I mean, I've got a lot of artwork from Josh.
It sounded really neat when he was talking about it. And what amazed me, what amazed all of us, and I've said this over and over throughout our podcast, is I just can't believe that at 22, he got the license. Not only, well, just the fact that he went after it and then got it and then did it. I mean, regardless of what you think of, the end product, which turned out to be pretty good in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
But still, Jesus, when I was 22, I mean, that might have been something that in the back of my mind, I thought, yeah, that'd be awesome to draw Jade. I wasn't going for it.
No,
I was not thinking about it. No. So yeah, I give him a lot of credit, worlds of credit for going out and doing it.
Go out and get that, because what he did G.I. Joe, he did Voltron, he got all that stuff at one point. And you're just like, man, at 22, I was sitting at my apartment. I might have been reading a G.I. Joe, but I was drinking and partying.
Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't thinking about that stuff at all. So pretty cool.
But yeah, that kid had his shit together. And it's amazing how, I mean, a lot of people give it some crap, in hindsight, but I'm like, man, I enjoyed. And the thing is, go back and read some of these G.I. Joe comics that came out from Marvel.
Yeah.
Not every one of them was a silent interlude. I hate to tell you guys this.
Yeah. And we've talked about that on Talking Joe, is like, when did I drop off? Because I haven't read all of the original Marvel series. I think I dropped off probably around 110. I do remember reading the Firefly issue later because I think my cousin had it. But as far as reading it every month and follow it and being really into it, I dropped off right after 100, right after all those guys got killed in the desert. And it wasn't because of that. It was just I was in high school. I wasn't really into it that much. I didn't think the quality was that good. If the art, when I look back at those issues now, and I think if the art had been better in these, I probably would have stuck with it. Because there for a while, the art got really bad.
Well, they had, was it Wagner was on the artwork for a while. Ron Garney did the artwork on it for a while. But then you get into like the 120s, you start getting Andrew Wildman.
Yeah. And that's when especially when he was inked by Stephen Baskerville, it just kind of.
I'm playing hell now because I have like 1 through 100 at least, and then like maybe like 1 through 20, 1 through 120, and I'm trying to get those last handful of issues, which is going to kill me.
You don't have them? You don't have them?
Nope. I have like.
I wish I could help you. Like I said, I don't have anything past probably 110, 113 maybe.
Yeah, I might have from 120 to 150 or 155. I might have 10 books in that span, and none of the nothing after like 150.
Did you start reading it after or when IDW brought back the original continuity with 155 or 156
or 155.5?
Yeah. And have you read it all the way up through now?
I read it every issue. I and what they're doing right now with the Lost Stories, have you read those?
No.
Oh,
I haven't read any of that stuff, and I swear I'm so jealous because I listen to the other shows with Tim and Mark by themselves, and they read those ones, and they're just on and on about how good they are. And I'm damn it, I need to jump on there and read those. But I haven't read anything since IDW brought back the original continuity. So I feel like, I'm sorry, I'd have like, 10 years worth of books to read.
Yeah, Larry Hama writes every issue. Same continuity. And then he does what they call the Lost Stories, and that is still like, if you're
Untold Tales or whatever.
Yeah, Untold Tales. Yeah. So there was literally one like a couple months back where it was just a story that existed within the timeline, but it was all about Olight. Yeah.
And then there was the Law and Order one where it was within the assault within one of the Assault on the Pit stories.
Yep.
Yeah. So like I said, it sounds really cool all the time. And I mean, there's been times when I've been like, man, I want to be on those episodes because they sounded better than the ones that we read from Devil's Due. I really did like some of the Devil's Due stuff though. Oh yeah. And I told the guys, I mean, there were some, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10, and almost everything. And I think there was maybe we would rate by story arcs, and there might have been a couple that I gave 4s to, but then there were also a couple that I gave like 8.5s to. Some really high ones, like the Brandon Beto Mike Zeck 2-parter with Storm Shadow and Cobra Commander and Snake Eyes and Billy.
Yep.
And part of it was drawn by Mike Zeck, That one was really, really good. I love doing the video for that one. That was the one where when I was doing the YouTube video, I really started to stretch and try to play with the images, as far as just trying to use as many full screen images as I can, to try to, we don't, when we're doing the shows, we don't outright read the comics. We'll give you a plot breakdown, and then we kind of hit specific points during the recap. So when I'm putting the videos together for YouTube, I'll pull out specific scenes and that's fun. But like you said earlier, before we started recording, that's where it starts to get really time consuming. I mean, what takes 2.5 hours to watch on a YouTube video, if anybody sits through that, easily has taken 10 or 20 hours to put together, just from finding all the figure pictures. Because one of the things that I like to do with ours is, like, whenever we mention a figure, is I'll go through and maybe I can send you some images from these later you can put up on something, and I'll have like a photo of the action figure itself, and then of the packaging that it came in, and then I'll have like what line it was from, like G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, or G.I. Joe Classified Series, or whatever, and then the name of the title, the name of the figure, the version, the year, what their job is, and those things will flash up on the screen from time to time. They're only there for a split second or two. We're going to make a gallery on our Facebook page where we put all those character pages up, and that's fun for me to go back through and find, because like we've talked about before, I don't think I got any action figures probably after 88 or 89. I mean, I might have got one a year here and there, just from like, oh, here's a neat Major Blood.
Oh yeah.
I'll pick that up, that kind of thing. But so there's a lot of stuff that I am unaware of, and I didn't get any of the modern stuff until like a year ago. I mean, I had gotten a couple things when Josh was a kid, and the Rise of Cobra came out, and we got a couple of the Snake Eyes figures then.
Well,
yeah, so there's a lot to go back now and be like, oh wow, check this figure out.
Well, I watched because when the kids were little, we watched G.I. Joe Sigma 6.
Yeah.
And by that time, I didn't care, and then it wasn't until years later, I had to shop, and this guy comes in and he hands me this tub, and it's all these Sigma 6 figures.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, these are kind of cool. And then I start checking them out, and I'm like, God dang, these are awesome figures. They're super articulated. They have like,
I don't think I've ever looked at them much other than a picture here and there online. Yeah, I know there's people that are real big fans of them. Justin Bell, I think, likes them.
Oh yeah, they're badass. I collect them whenever I can. Whenever I can find them, I snag.
You don't have them all yet?
No. I mean, I have like
how many were there?
There's not a whole lot. I think there's only like 30. But there's
only a couple of years.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, is there's literally, I guarantee you, there's 10 Dukes. And
of course there are.
They come with like this, like,
and everybody says we don't need another Duke.
Yeah, and there's but there's literally, like, I have like Arctic climbing Duke, so it's got Duke with like skis and like ice axes and stuff like that.
No, see, that's what I like. I kind of like ones like that.
And I've got a couple different Snake Eyes. I've got Firefly. I got this freaking awesome Zartan. He's like partially clear green. So, did I lose you?
No, you didn't.
Okay. I thought I lost you because I stopped being able to hear. But yeah, I got this like partially clear green Zartan, and their weapons are bad, and they come in like, they got like this like, trunk that comes with weapons in it. And I've got Spirit. He comes with a great big bow and arrow.
Spirit, controversial character.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's like sitting back, and
I'm pulling out a few of mine. I'm going to show you. Now, when we talked earlier, because obviously Paul and I set this up earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And we had talked about where what we were going to do. And I said, well, if we do a video, I didn't think I was going to be able to do a video from my home. But we ended up being able to do it. And I kind of wanted to do it here because I got, we're talking about G.I. Joe. I got stuff to show off. You were talking about the Sigma 6 stuff. And when I got back into collecting, it was like August, probably August or September, really, of 2020. Obviously, I'm not going to go back and collect every figure from every line. That's just impossible. But what interests me, what I think was really cool, was just the kind of more, not necessarily rare, but interesting figures that you see, like unique variations of. This was one of my favorites, and one of the first ones that I got, which is like a twig. It's Baroness from the Mass Device DVD set.
Oh yeah. So it's in the
red, the scuba gear.
Scuba gear.
And it's like, I'm just like, that's the Baroness. But yeah, it's so skinny. Arms and stuff are so small. But I just thought that's a neat, and one of my favorite Zartan figures is the one from, I'm not gonna try to dig it out, from like the Rise of Cobra or Pursuit of Cobra line, maybe, where he had like the ratty kind of hood. He had a falcon with him. Yeah. And it was like, what the hell? That should have been Raptor. I mean, there was really nothing about that figure that said Zartan. But
well, what's really cool,
I thought it was cool,
was the ones that I end up buying a huge G.I. Joe collection, and I intended to buy it for the store, and then it just never made it there.
Never got to the store.
Never got there. It's at the store. Technically, it's in storage at the store. But I was able to find the Predator G.I. Joe figures.
Budo from that same line.
Yeah.
Not a character that I like, but I thought this was a really neat, just a really neat sculpt and a really neat design. Oh, especially when you get the helmet on it. It's like, yeah, that guy's never going to go into battle ever alongside like guys in camo.
Nope.
But just the fact that they said, we got 11 items we can do this year. What are we going to do? Well, let's throw a samurai in there. Who okays that? I mean, I'd be like, we can't put low light or somebody, but still they knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's a freaking samurai. So yeah. And a lot of these, when I went back in, like I said, in 2020, and I started looking at a lot of these figures, I was really blown away by the level of detail from the Pursuit of Cobra line, especially, and how cool a lot of them were.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When they started making like movie-esque versions of the classic lines,
yeah,
those are badass. Like I said, the ones that got me were the Duke, Gung Ho, Stalker, and Spirit, and Recondo. I think
you're talking from the Sigma 6 ones.
No, from the where it's essentially Predator.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like Duke is obviously Schwarzenegger. Stalker is obviously Carl Weathers.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
I have that Spirit.
Yeah, Spirit is obviously Billy from Predator, and Recondo is Jesse Ventura, and then they got a guy called, I think it's the Headhunter, and he's got this dreadlocks. He's wearing like a hockey looking mask, and he's obviously the Predator.
Shadow Tracker.
Yeah, Shadow Tracker. God damn, I couldn't think of that off the top of my head.
Yeah, I just drew a couple sketches of him the other day. If I had my sketchbook in here, I'd pop those up.
Yeah, I'm when I found those, I was like, oh my god, dude, that looks like, and it's like, oh yeah, I found out, oh, that's completely why, because they're totally making Predator figures.
I didn't realize that. I have the Spirit, and I got him because obviously it's Billy from Predator.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really put together that was what the other figures were from that time.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd seen that Duke and thought, that's a Duke I might try to track down. I went one day looking at all the different variations of Duke to try to see, if I wanted this one, or if there were any that I thought were really cool. And after I got to like 15 that I thought were really cool, I thought, I don't think I'm going to do this.
I am, when it comes to the 3 1/4 inch line, traditional Duke is just the best Duke.
Yeah.
The brown shirt with his airborne. Yeah. Oh, did you see what dropped this week? The new G.I. Joe figures from Super 7? That are the cartoon accurate ones?
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, they're so expensive, and I'm like, I ordered them.
Well, which ones are you talking about? Because
The one that's
there's two different lines that came out. There was like the Ultimates, which there's 4 different ones of those. And then there's another line, which are like the reaction ones, and there's a lot of those.
And then the reaction ones that are the 3¼ inch, just
that one's got green shirts in it.
Yeah, they're green shorts and Cobra Trooper fillers and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm like, hell yeah. I just ordered cases of those.
Did you?
I ordered them for the shop. I got guys who buy G.I. Joe shit all the time, not including the fact that I will collect at least one of each for myself.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I probably won't get those. I think I jumped in on the classified line. That's probably good. I'll pick up I'll pick up something outside of that every once in a while.
Now the ultimate
and a retro figure that I like here and there, but I'm definitely not jumping into another line.
I had to start making decisions, and and it's not going well. So well, right now is
you have the ultimate G.I. Joe collectible though that I would like to have. You probably know what it is.
Which one?
The treasury sized one.
The treasury size?
Don't you have a treasury size? A treasury size #1 signed by Hama and Shrimpy?
No, I got a regular just that's a trade paperback. I don't have the tabloid size one, the treasury size one signed.
But you do have something signed by both of them, don't you?
Yes. I got a few.
Yeah. No, that's what I would want.
And the fact is that Herb Trimp, it took him a minute because I handed him the one trade paperback. Yeah. And he looks at it because it's got the Campbell cover. And he looks at it and he goes, "Did I do something in this?" And his I think it was his wife or whatever was like, she's like, "Yeah." She goes, "You drew the first issue." And he's like, "Oh, that's what this is." He signed it, and then I took it a few years later to Larry Hama and had Larry Hama sign it. And literally, I felt so bad for Larry Hama because I got there on a Sunday, and he had slipped and fell the day before and like broke his nose. Oh, so he's sitting there and he's like at his table and he's miserable. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, sir. Could you sign me?" And he was like, I saw that you posted on Saturday that you messed your nose up. And I felt so bad that I was going to be coming here today to hand you books to get you to sign.
Hey, if he was there, he was willing to do it. So
and the thing is that he goes, it's when people stop showing up, that's when I'll worry. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
So I had him sign.
I remember the first, this is such a, goes along with that story so well. The very first year I went to Mid-Ohio Con, it was the last year it was in Mansfield. Did you ever go when it was in Mansfield? It was, I swear it was in a building that was as big as an airport hangar. And when I walked in the door, there was a line from the back of the room to the front of the room. And I said, "What is this?" And everybody said, "This is the line for John Byrne." And I said, "Oh, well, that makes sense." And then the next year in Columbus, John Byrne was sitting at the table, looking around, wondering if anybody knew who John Byrne was.
Well, what's funny is I got a great John Byrne story because I went there, and he used to always did Mid-Ohio.
Yeah,
I remember him going way back. Well,
that's why I'm sure everybody in Ohio has his signature by that point.
And everybody has a horror story from him too.
Basically.
Well, we're sitting there and I go up and he's never been mean to me personally. But literally there was a kid in front of me, maybe 2 or 3 people in, and kid was maybe, I don't know, 8, 9 years old. And he asked for a drawing of Superman or something like that. And John Byrne draws a quick sketch of Superman.
Nice.
And then he looks at the kid and he goes, "That's $75." Or whatever. Like, don't quote me on the price. I just remember him going, "Yeah, it's this much." And the kid's like, I don't have that much money. And the guy goes, "Oh," and then John Byrne goes, "Okay," then proceeds to auction it off in front of the kid to the people standing in line. And I'm sitting there, and at the time, I didn't have the money or nothing to be able to do this. I would have totally bought it and then handed it to the kid.
Yeah,
but literally, I was relatively young, and I was probably a young dad myself. I think Brandon and Joe were still pretty little at the time. And
yeah, you're not going to a show carrying enough cash to do that, but
no.
Golly, John.
And so like later on that year, I was reading Wizard, and he posted the books that he did that he hated. His top 10 books that he hated. Well, John Byrne would sign 10 books. I found all 10 of those books that he hated. And it was fun because he was sitting there and he signed the first one. And it was the Snowblind cover to
Alpha Flight.
He signs that and he sets it aside. Then the next issue, I think, is like Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch, his first commercial work. He signs that and he sets it aside. And then he looks at the next book and he looks up at me and he looks at the next book and then he just proceeds to go like this. And he just gives me the dirtiest look. And he just keeps signing them, never says another word, and just sacks them over and slides them to me. And, you know, usually he'd be like, thank you, you know, whatever. And then, but he's just like, well, and then
I wonder if you're the only person that ever did that.
I can't be the only person, because that would be, I wouldn't. But I'm sitting there watching him doing signings for a guy, and I think he's sitting there signing. He takes this one book and he sets it off to the side, keeps signing his other books, and he reaches over and he opens up his briefcase and he hands this. He's get a stamp book out. And he's like, and he goes, reprint book, reprint autograph.
Ha! That's
and he
awesome.
hands it back to the guy, and I'm like, dude, I would have rather you've not have done, you know, not that, you know.
Oh no, I'd be all about it. I'd be like, stamp them all like that. That's just funny as hell.
Yeah. And then they had this one guy who was there, and he had the Marvel Monopoly game, I believe. And he had all these people who'd worked at Marvel sign the middle of the board. And he looks at it and he goes, I didn't do any artwork on it. And the guy's like, well, I know that. He goes, it's literally a Marvel board, so I want anybody that worked on Marvel to do it. And he goes, yeah, I didn't do any artwork on it. I'm not signing it. And I'm like, okay. One guy brought the old school Marvel lunchbox up. He wouldn't sign that either. This thing is signed by like Stan Lee. And he's like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I didn't do any artwork on that.
Well,
I'm like,
you know,
I guess stand by your principles, man. But
yeah, to each his own. Everybody's got their own certain rules. Like I think I've heard, will like McFarlane, for example, will he sign anything with Venom, or will he just do stuff that like he did? I mean, you know, you've got situations like that where, like, I think if you put a piece of chewing gum with Deadpool in front of Rob Liefeld, he'd sign it.
He'll sign, yeah, and then he'll charge you Deadpool prices.
Yeah.
In McFarlane, I've seen the first Null Venom book signed by McFarlane.
Oh wow, okay.
So I guess he'll sign it, but you know, also if you're paying him to sign, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna hand him.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, yeah.
Mm-mm.
You know,
I gave him to sign that G.I. Joe issue he did. What, 53? No one remembers it.
61 or something. Oh, they remember it because then they put out he did 2 issues actually, and the second one the artwork got rejected, so they brought Marshall Rogers in to do it, and then they released the rejected artwork as G.I. Joe Special #1.
Yep.
And the same company that recently released the black and white Silent Interlude hardcover also did a black and white version of the number 61, I think, that he did do, that was released, that had Hawk and Zanzibar on the front cover. I think that's what they released, was the...
No, I'll go old. I'll go back and find it was an All-Star Squadron that he did back when he first started. So, that was funny. Remember a couple years back when Jesse had Rob Liefeld was supposed to do Gem City?
And
then
I think I heard something about it.
I found a stack, I guarantee you, stack that thick of like Boris the Bear #5s. It was Rob Liefeld's first professional artwork.
Oh, wow.
I was going to take that and go, sign them.
Hey, I'm sure you would love to do it.
Yeah, charge you $20 a pop to get them signed.
Maybe Rob's podcast is pretty fun if you ever get a chance to listen to it. And especially the background of the formation of image and stuff was really neat. Yeah, I listen to. Oh man, I'll go through spells at work because I'm there for 12 hours, and I'll listen to like 5 or 6 episodes of this show, or maybe listen to a certain show for 2 or 3 days, and then not listen to anything else for a while. So I probably listened to the first 30 episodes of Rob's podcast, which were fun.
My whole thing about Rob Liefeld is I wonder if when he started getting that Deadpool money, I wonder if he ever paid off all the people he owed money. From when he had Extreme Studios, and he
probably
because from what I understand, he never paid a penny to anybody who worked there during that time because he never made any money.
I'm sure he would have had to have over the years. We would have heard about it. I see you finally got some ad-ats.
Oh yeah, well, the one I've had since when it came out. This is the one I've had since 1997 when they brought it back. I've had that one forever. It's gone with me from every move from 1990. I still have the box. The box is at the shop. But the one is an original, and it's got no door and no canopy for it. And I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and it was just down the street from not just like a quarter mile away from the shop.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I went in there and I bought it off this kid. And wasn't for the shop, it was all for me. And Joe looks at me and he goes, "How much did you pay for that?" I was like, I don't know, like $10. Joe hands me $10. It takes the toy away from me. He goes, "Now here, shut up. Merry Christmas. You got an ad I was like, I love my son. I love him to death because only my kid would be a smart ass like that. And then I got,
because for years we've all heard about how Paul never got an ad for Christmas.
Nope. And I finally got one, and then I got the big son bitch back here, and I
have an original one that has an original arrow in the original arrow hole in the cargo door where my dad's best friend's son shot it with my bow and arrow when we were like 8 or 9 years old or something. I could have killed him. I was like, "You shot my ad, really?"
Well, and then I got, like I said, got the big one. I got that in trade a while back at the shop. And then I got my, and then I started getting my Shogun Warriors, my stupid big ass expensive Shogun Warriors. You know what? I don't party and I don't drink and I don't run around. I don't do nothing stupid.
I know, that's the way I am.
I get my,
and especially with one thing that I love about the classified figures is, until very recently, we haven't had a whole lot of releases at once, so okay, if you release 2 figures in 6 months and they cost $20 a piece, I'm fine with that. I can do that. Don't release like 10 every 2 months that are $20 or 30 or 40 a piece or whatever. I can't do that.
Well, that's like I still collect like the Star Wars Black line, but it's certain figures. I ordered a case of ones a while back, and it was literally because like every figure in that case was a figure I wanted. So it was it was 2 of the Bad Batch. So it was Hunter and Crosshair. It was Bo-Katan, Asajj Ventress, and the new are you watching the Bad Batch? Oh, it's one of the new stormtroopers with the black armor from that series. And I was like, sweet. I was like, this is a full case. Every figure is a figure that I like.
Is that animated?
Yeah, it's the direct follow-up to Clone Wars.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those. A lot of people recommended them. Especially during when when Mandalorian was on. And I kind of thought, oh, I'll watch them. I downloaded them all, but I haven't got around to watching it. And I'm just so busy with making our YouTube videos and stuff. I haven't had a chance to watch anything. And well, that's low in my list of priorities of things.
It's Joe and I. There's 3 things. I mean, my kid's 21. He's getting ready to move out. But 3 things that we bond on is every Wednesday we watch. Well, we were watching Loki. and we watched, of course, Falcon and Bucky, stuff like that, and WandaVision.
I thought you were going to say AEW Dynamite.
No, I haven't watched WWE in forever. We watch Forged in Fire because that's one of our favorite shows.
Yeah.
And every Friday now we watch The Bad Batch. Literally, I get up in the morning, I get ready, I get dressed, I get Vince breakfast, I get me breakfast. I yell upstairs to Joe. I'm like, Bad Batch! And he comes down here, we watch Bad Batch, and then he goes back upstairs. That's like this Wednesday or this Thursday, we're going to go see Snake Eyes. That's the father-son trip, I guess. So
we'll probably try to hit it. I wanted to try to hit it within a few days of it coming out, especially being on the podcast. I feel like this is something I gotta,
dude,
but I think we were talking about it yesterday, and Mark, who's in England, isn't going to get to see it until like August 18th or something like that, unless he gets a bootleg copy, which nobody wants to do that. So no, not a huge rush to get it, although I may still try to go up maybe one day during the week after it opens and check it out. I don't know. We'll see.
Literally I have Thursdays and Sundays off in the shop, and I always make sure I watch, if I want to watch a movie, I watch it opening night, because all the horrible people that come to the shop, they will ruin it for me.
That's the way it was when I worked at the comic book store. If there was a movie like the Avengers or anything like that, you had to see it like within the first couple of days, because you go back to work and people are going to come in and, they're going to want to talk about it. How you going to, you want to be able to talk to them about it.
Well, what killed me was at the time when Avengers 1 came out, I was working overtime. And on top of that, that was Free Comic Book Day weekend. So the first day I was able to see Avengers was that Sunday. So from Thursday to Sunday, I couldn't see it. I was sitting there, Free Comic Book Day, and a handful of people, all of a sudden this dude comes up and he goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe Thanos shows up at the end." I'm like, "You're dick. I haven't seen it yet, man. Just shut the
Thanks, asshole."
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie. Have I spoiled movies for people? Yes. But have I done it on purpose? No. Yeah. I always go, "Have you seen it?" I mean, literally, I talk to Mark almost every day, and I get on his shit because he has not watched the last episode of Loki yet. And I always go, we're working out. We're at the gym. He is standing next to me on the, working. He's on the on the exercise bike. I'm on the elliptical, and I'll go, "Oh my God, did you watch?" And he's like, "Nope." My God, I want to talk to you about this. Watch it when you get home.
I know there's nothing worse when there's like one other person that that watches something, but then they don't catch up, and you're like,
"Oh, what's great is
finish it, will you?"
Oh,
so we could talk about it.
Well, I talked to Bill. Bill is always on spot. He watches everything. So
Gladman,
huh?
Gladman?
No. Bill Tucker, my buddy, comes in the shop. I haven't seen Gladman in a while. He's down in Dayton ways, and I see him when I can. I talk to him occasionally here and there. But Bill Tucker is he will come in on Friday if we saw like we went and seen Black Widow, and he's like, "Well, what'd you think?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can talk to you about it. I know you went." I mean, I knew Mark went and seen it because he was literally, I was talking to him on the phone on the way home. So,
so are you excited for Snake Eyes?
I'm excited for Snake Eyes. Me and Joe are asking ourselves, they're like, "Do you think he's going to get fucked up before?" That's
what Josh Blaylock said. He goes, I just hope he gets fucked up or something like that. I hope they fuck that pretty face up. We all cracked up laughing. We're like, "Wow, dude." I don't think they will.
At least lose his voice. At least,
I don't think they'll do any of that. Personally, I just don't. I don't see him. I don't see him doing it. Not after making such a big deal of showing his face. And stuff.
But it looks good in the fact.
And they're not gonna, to be a dick. They're not gonna make him a not white guy and then fuck his face up.
Dude, if it ends and you don't see his face, like there's a big fucking explosion, and his mask is all buggered up and stuff like that. And then that's how it kind of ends, is him saving, and then the mask. You're like, I'll give you that. There's the possibility that he could be buggered up. I'm fine. You know, at least in, you know, because in the G.I. Joe with Ray Park as Snake Eyes, he never talks, but he took his vow of silence. And they don't imply that he's
unable.
Yeah. And
or disfigured. I see what you mean.
Yeah, they don't imply that he's disabled. They don't imply that he's messed up in the face. And I just, because I know that eventually Snake Eyes gets plastic surgery and he's fine again, and then he gets up again.
Yeah, that's up again. Like 2 panels later.
Yeah. He's like, look at me, I can talk. Boom. No.
Yeah.
No. But I want something so bad to happen at the end, but I know they're not going to push that button. But I
don't know what button it is, but I just think that there's, to me, it's like, you know, everybody complains. You've seen so much complaining we all have about, oh, he's not a white guy, and you know, and anytime somebody says, oh, he's not a white guy, then everybody says, you're a racist. You know, we just want our creative properties to stay the way they are. It's, you know, honor the creator is the big thing. It's no problem. Stalker is my second favorite character, black guy. You know, but if you made a movie and Stalker was a white guy, I'd be pissed off. I'd be like, Stalker's a black guy. Yeah. You know, and for me, it's like, I don't know. Well, unfortunately, they're never going to make a movie of R26 and 27. So, well, this is a different thing. This is to me, this is the ninja movie featuring Scarlet and Storm Shadow and the Baroness and a guy called Snake Eyes. It's not, you know, Sergeant Bob Light that was in Vietnam and got saved by Tommy.
Well, they can't do that because that would put him at like 70.
Yeah. That's the only problem.
Well,
it's like if you stick to that origin, then you're basically set in the 80s.
Oh,
and I always kind of think this is like, if I were to do my own kind of G.I. Joe series, I think that's what I would do. I would keep it set in the 80s. And I would, because to me, a neat part, especially now looking at it and having a dad who's a vet, and reading all the file cards and realizing how many of the first Joes were Vietnam vets.
Yeah.
You know, because it was only a few years before. I mean, the war ended in what, 76 or something like that?
74. They were completely out by 76.
Yeah. And then, you know, 6 years later is when G.I. Joe started. So yeah, in a real military, those would be the guys that would form that. And they did. That's what Delta Force was.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and so yeah, I think I would set it just for me. I mean, like, you know, everybody's like, oh, that's not my G.I. Joe. Well, no, it isn't. You know, this new Snake Eyes isn't my G.I. Joe. That's my G.I. Joe. Sit back in the 80s. You know, I want this to be good. I want to see it. I hope people like it, and I hope that it makes money. And you know, we got the Amazon Lady J thing coming. They just announced a new cartoon, so that's cool. You know,
well, I love Renegades.
I want to keep going. I didn't watch that. I heard a lot of good things about it.
Renegades, and this is, I have to tell you, spoiler alert. I because I don't know if you're going to get to this, because you have to watch it just to get to the end. You have the entire series of Renegades. I think it's 2 seasons. And in the last episode of the last season, Duke wakes up, and it's the original Duke from the original animated series. And he goes, I had this weirdest dream. We were renegades. And he's like,
oh my gosh, are you serious?
It has a Dallas freaking.
Oh.
And I loved it. And the thing is, it was great because it had Cobra infiltrating Middle America and becoming like, you know, and being able to, like Cobra did in the comics, you know, they were able to infiltrate and become like people like, oh, you know, Cobra's good guys, you know, and then you're like, no, they're not. And
Blackwater or something.
It's essentially what they become. And it's pretty good. It's because it's a team I like that they did with it, because it's literally like Duke, Scarlet,
your classic characters.
Tunnel Rat, you know. And then did you ever watch Resolute?
Yeah, I did see that.
Resolute's the fact that that's what is it? That's Warren Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
Never was a GI Joe fan, and they gave that to him for that reason. And that's
Yeah.
why in the first 5 minutes of the show they kill off 2 prominent GI Joe characters. You know,
It was Bazooka and who else?
Major
Blood, maybe.
Yeah. Major Blood.
Yeah.
I remember watching that on Cartoon Network when it aired, and I'm like sitting there watching it. And I'm like,
that was on Cartoon Network.
That was like on Adult Swim.
Oh, okay.
It was like on at like 9-10 o'clock at night, and I'm watching it, and all of a sudden they're like, "That Major Blood dead?" And then it's like, did they kill Bazooka? What the?
That just happened.
Yeah. What the hell?
Oh, it's funny, you know, reading the. Like I said, we just finished up the Josh Blaylock Devils Do run, and there were things in there. And unfortunately, with our interview, I mean, we could have gone hours and hours if we wanted to say, why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? We just kind of kept everything broad. But, you know, there were things that they would do in there, like they'd kill characters. And one of the most recent episodes, we covered the Serpentor Returns arc, you know, the Last Stand. And there's a scene in there where Flash and Mainframe get killed. And in our podcast, I'm literally like telling them, I was like, you know, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, there's Flash. That's cool. And then like Flash dies like 3 panels later. And it's like, why are you going to kill a character that you just, you know,
brought back
a guy that's been around since 1982? You're going to bring him in the very last issue of your run. And in 3 or 4 panels, you're going to kill him. Come on. Just don't do it. Just don't have that character in there. There's no reason to kill him unless you make it something like meaningful.
Yeah,
like if Duke had died in the movie, or the way that Snake Eyes, I guess, died in Larry's run. Although I think that was kind of lessened a lot by the art and the pacing. But I don't know. Don't kill him unless it means something.
And the thing is, though, is you know, I get why they did it back in the day. I get why, was it Saw Viper, if I remember right? Saw Viper,
yeah,
killed a bunch of the
in issue 109.
Yeah, because they wanted to get rid of a lot of the classics so that kids would buy the new figures. Is the whole reason. The same reason that they were trying to get rid of a lot of Joes during the movie, and so they could bring in all the new GI Joes to replace them, you know. And it didn't work. Same thing that happened with Transformers. People didn't care about the new Transformers. They still wanted Optimus Prime, and that's why we ended up getting 1,000 different Optimus Prime instead of, you know. And
that's where we are with the Joe line. Everybody's like, "Oh, I want them to see new figures in the classified line." I'm like, I really don't. I mean, necessarily, a new figure is not going to mean anything to me. Hell, I ordered barbecue the other day just because I was jonesing to order something. I could do without barbecue.
Yeah, the fact that they made barbecue and we haven't got
Stalker,
Flash,
Stalker, Lowlight, Tunnel Rat.
Yeah, Shipwreck. The fact that we haven't got Shipwreck yet, that just boggles my mind.
Some of the decisions they make, I have to wonder about.
There's some figures that are almost designed for being that big a figure. I think Recondo would be great because
I love Recondo.
Recondo is, you know, I love that figure. The hat.
Yep.
I love his backstory about how he could find his eyelash he lost in jungles in like 20 years before.
Wow, that was Larry's file cards.
Oh yeah, I think he would that would be a great, but far better than barbecue.
Yeah, there's so many.
And I don't, but I would love to see maybe modernized versions of the original 12, you know, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Rock and Roll. You know, I know some of them guys would not work well, you know, because Grunt, Zap, as much as
all you got to do with somebody like Grunt is just make him Footloose. That's what Footloose was a new infantry trooper, you know, and it was just a little more camo, a little more, you know, don't go overboard. That's what I don't like is when they take a figure and they just try to do too much to it. Or they take somebody like, I'm kind of disappointed with the new Breaker figure, honestly. He's just olive drab pants, a vest, jacket and like the flight helmet, basically, is what it looks like. At least the original Breaker, I'm sure, used the same mold as the original guys and had a knife and a grenade on his chest, probably. You couldn't even give him that. I mean, I don't even think he's got the gun, the minigun, but you know, give him an AR-15 or something. I mean, is that too much to ask? You could throw a knife on his chest. Why is he just playing?
Well, that's like, you know what I didn't realize up until relatively recently is people thought that, what was it? Grunt, Zap, and Breaker were army builder guys. And I'm like sitting there going, that doesn't, and then I'm looking at the figures and I'm like, I get it. I get why. Same with Short Fuse, because they're relatively generic looking characters but I'm like, but they have good backstories for these characters that we thought were, you know, because I get Zap and them, because they're just, you know, mortar soldier, bazooka soldier, infantry soldier, communication soldier. I get why people thought those now that were, but I'm like, man, I look back and I was like, really?
I never thought that. Yeah. They were all individual characters for me.
Yeah, but I didn't know that until recently, that people thought that those were army builders. I'm like, I don't think the Joes ever had army builder figures.
No.
They never
had. I kind of agree with, I said this on Facebook earlier today. Somebody was talking about the green shirts. And I tend to agree with one of my co-hosts, Tim Finn. And he said that he didn't like green shirts because there's so many Joe characters.
There's no need for them.
There's no need for green shirts. You've got like at least 200 Joes. Yeah. I mean, I think that like, if the Joes have a base, sure, you have guys that fuel the jets, you know, and stuff like that. And you have cooks, you have office support staff or something like that. But
see, no,
they're not going out in the field, and they shouldn't ever be out on the field.
No. Well,
and nor should they necessarily have names.
No, that's like if you got, you know what I would love to see? Okay, if they reissued the original G.I. Joe base.
The headquarters?
Yeah, just give a random green
roof.
Give a roof. Yeah, give a roof so people don't get.
You know what was awesome was, do you remember when the flag came out and the Sears catalog had the 2-page spread of the flag, and there were like 20 different shipwreck figures just all over the flag. They were all over the deck and inside because they were all sailors. It was just like, well, these are all sailors. They all have beards and, you know, sans Polly.
I want to say it was was it the Pennies catalog? It was one catalog that that if you look at it, they did the same thing, except for it's the Dress Blues, Gung Ho, and Shipwrecks on the deck, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, they're just like, yeah, that guy looks like an officer. Just throw him up there. Yeah,
I never understood the Dress Blues Gung Ho. I got it, but I kind of thought, why do we need this? It was just a test. Hasbro was just seeing. Let's see if we can get these little fuckers to buy something.
Don't buy every fucking thing.
Yeah. Like one of our theme songs is, to one of our segments is called, it's just G.I. Joe merchandise, but the theme song says something like, take any old crap and slap Flint's face on the side. It's true. Think about way back then, all the stuff that we would see with like Flint on it, you know. Go into Dollar General or someplace, there's a kite with like Flint on it.
Oh yeah, or my favorite one is the everything that the bad like AM radio that just had the G.I. Joe logo on it. The headset that you know, headset walkie-talkie that is, and I think that was like the Bionic Man headset from like a whole generation.
Oh, probably. They just reuse all that stuff.
Yeah.
I had G.I. Joe walkie-talkies when I was a kid.
I think I still have one. I have one walkie-talkie. It's somewhere in a box somewhere. It literally, I bought it at a garage sale. And I was,
oh, you don't have the other one. You never had the other one.
What'd be funny is somebody else bought the walkie-talkie one day. We'll put batteries in, like,
it'll be like that movie. What was it called? Frequency. Like one day it'll come on your shelf and be like, is anybody out there?
It was like a guy from
like Larry.
I bought this little kid. Find out it was me as a little kid. Bought a walkie-talkie.
There's a movie right there.
I'm like, little kid, don't sell your Wolverine or your Hulk 181, no matter how broke you are.
Golly.
Don't put your flag in the basement of that house. It will flood. That's a horror story right there.
Did you have it? Did that happen to you?
I had the flag, and we had it at our apartment on North Roosevelt here in Piqua. And one day the landlord came in and he's like, you guys got to stop flushing stuff down the toilet. And I'm like, what are you flushing down the toilet besides toilet paper and poop,
And aircraft carrier.
And no, the women that were living upstairs kept flushing their pads, and it backed raw sewage up into our basement. And my flag was down in the basement. So I went down there and I almost cried because it's just sitting there in about a foot of raw sewage. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh, I would have cleaned it up. I'm like, no, I couldn't do it. I mean, it's I think if I would have had some place that I could have sterilized it, like something big I could have put it in, like,
you would have needed like,
well, the deck plates were like
power wash it.
Yeah. And the thing is that would have took all the stickers off and everything else. I would have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lost my flag in a raw sewage backed up.
Wow. That's terrible.
And the worst part about it is I think I know the guy who ended up with it after that.
What'd you do with it?
No, because I just left it in there when we moved out. It never left the basement. And I think
I would have thrown it away. I'd have been like,
yeah, it was one of the ones where I didn't want to touch it. I was so mad. I'm like, it's dead. I'm done.
It's dead to me.
Dead. Fuck it. That's like
Had you had that since you were a kid?
Maybe since I was about 18 or 19.
Wow, really?
I got it in a trade, and it was one of the last things I think I got. But yeah,
my mom gave me a choice one year. By that point, we knew that mom and dad bought Christmas presents, and mom was like, well, we'll spend a certain amount of money on Christmas if you want. She said, so what's this cost? And I was like, well, this is like $100. And she said, if you get that, that's all you're getting. And I was like, so ultimately I decided to get like the whale, the hydrofoil, and like 2 or 3 other things and a bunch of other figures. I mean, I went for quantity, I got a bunch of different stuff. Basically, the flag was the only, up through 86 or 87 was the only big, really about the only thing I didn't have. I might have not had like a small vehicle package or, like the little things that run around.
Oh, yeah.
I might have had some
mini rigs and stuff like that.
Maybe didn't have one or two of those, but basically all the major vehicles and major figures I had until probably 87 or 88.
I think I remember having, I think from 82 to 87, I had every figure. I didn't have every vehicle because I traded to make sure that I got every figure. And I played that a lot. And then, but not, don't I should have still had a shit ton of the vehicles and stuff like that. And but then again, my parents weren't the ones that, okay, you just got that Jeep. We're not getting one just because it's brown. You got a Jeep. Okay, you're definitely not getting one because it's painted like a.
I don't think mine ever paid that much attention. There could have been like 7 hydrofoils of different colors. And on number 8, maybe they would have been like, doesn't it look kind of like the last one you got?
Oh,
I mean, I somehow I look back, we talk about army builders. When I look at mine now, I have 4 eels, 4 crimson guards, 4 snow serpents, 4 vipers. I might only have 2 televipers, but basically all of the Cobra troops, I tried by that point to get at least 4 of. That was what was my army was 4 figures.
Yeah, I tried to get whatever I could, and I remember legitimately when you could go to garage sales and buy GI Joe for nothing, and I always bought boxes of them and whatever. I was like, all right, tweet, boom. And then I would trade off the extras I had so I could get the ones I didn't have. And then I started like, oh, okay, well, I like the bats and I like the vipers, so I need more of those. So, okay, well, at one point I had probably 10 bats, but I guarantee you, probably 5 of them didn't have an arm at all. So, because everybody lost the little weapon that went in the tag thing. Or you had the backpack and no weapons that went in it, or you had just one weapon. I had maybe one complete.
See, I managed to keep all that stuff complete somehow. And 4 bats is pretty cool.
Yeah. And now my stuff that I bought in the store that I had, those were all complete. I didn't, I guess, unless the little, gun.
Yeah, there might be a microphone, like what's his name? Heavy Metal. I think he has a microphone or something. They say that's a really rare piece. There might be a rare piece here or there that I've
the worm driver, the one that has the helmet, has the antenna.
I was out by then.
Yeah. His antenna always would come up missing. And
of course, I think I told you the other day not to be undone. I've already lost Major Blood's dog tags. It's a classified figure.
I haven't yet.
Because what I did was I opened the package at my parents' house and I took the dog tags off and I just set them on a table. I wasn't thinking about it. And when I left, I put the figure and everything back in there. And I get home and I set him on the shelf and I'm like, the dog tags at? And I text my mom and I'm like, hey, look on the table, see if there's something, weird looking on the table. And she's like, yeah, here it is. Okay. So the next time I went over there, I said, put it in a plastic bag or something, like a Ziploc bag. And that way I won't, it won't get lost in my car. So I put it in the console in my car, and then like a moron, it was probably not even 2 days later, I'm like cleaning my car out, and I just grabbed that plastic bag, and it ended up in a Sunoco trash can or something. And then later I'm like, where the hell are those dog tags at? And I get to thinking, fuck, that was in my console. I'm like, man. So between the Viper having broken goggles and my Major Blood having no dog tags, my classified line is never going to be 100% complete.
Mine is that I refuse to play scalper prices for any figure. And so I'm working very carefully trying to get the figures when they actually either put them back on Pulse or they put them back to Target or whatever. I got lucky the other day because I didn't want the Target roadblock because it's obvious that's heavy duty. I don't even know why they call him roadblock.
I don't.
And so I didn't really want him, but I'm like, you know what? I'm getting all the other ones. I might as well. So I'm sitting there and I was on one of the Facebook pages and they're like, hey, these are up. And they had the 4 figures. Of course, it was the infantry.
Viper, wasn't
it? No, it was Firefly, Beachhead, Roadblock, and the Cobra Island Trooper. And I'm like, okay, so I tried to get them. The only ones that I could get were Roadblock and a Trooper. No. Well, then like the next day, I'm on there again. They're like, hey, these are up, and it's Baroness and the Viper.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, boom, I got both of them. I'm like, hell yeah. I think Viper's $100 and Baroness 150, and I think I paid $65 for both. So
I paid over 100 for my Viper, Baroness, Major Blood. I think I paid 110 for.
I traded a Red Ninja and a Cobra Trooper, just a regular Cobra Trooper, for Major Blood.
In Beachhead, I paid like 74 maybe. Everyone else has just been like $20 or $30 or whatever. Like the couple I got from you, were 30. There's a shop in West Virginia that I go to sometimes, and I think one time I bought one there and it was 30, and then like the next time I went, they had $25 stickers on them. So I don't know.
It's realistically the only reason I had to charge you that was shipping.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all.
So the other day we did a Jim and Dan show, and I was able to, and I finally broke down and bought Pimp Daddy Destro. And
see, that and the heavy duty are the ones that I don't have, and I don't have any interest in getting. like you said, if maybe one day if that severe completist bug says you got to get that Cobra Island roadblock, but so far I'm not feeling that,
dude. If they would, because I got Pip Daddy Destro for $20, just flat $20. I bought him at the show flat $20. Heavy duty roadblock, I picked him up for retail, and same with the Cobra Trooper. And it's funny because I have two of all of the standard ones, and then the Cobra Island ones I only have one of. And it's like, oh, and it's funny because Joe gets excited and he looks at him. I was like, just think one day, Joe, this will all be yours to sell.
To sell. I got on there the other day and I ordered another Viper, another infantry trooper, and I did order a Baroness. And the reason I got another Baroness was thinking maybe I'll hold her and possibly trade, because I still don't have a pre-order for Breaker. So I'm hoping that maybe I can leverage that somehow. And then I ordered those, and then I just happened to get on my credit card account and I saw that my credit card number had been stolen. Unrelated. But so I called and canceled my credit card, and then didn't think about those orders. And then a day or two later, the Viper one came back and they said, oh, we tried to bill this card and we couldn't bill the card. So we canceled your order. I'm like, son of a bitch.
I got the same, well, not the same thing happened. Luckily I caught it right away. I'm sitting there and I'm at work, and I just happen to have my email up in the background, and I hear the bing, and notification, and I'm looked at it and I'm like, I didn't just buy nothing with because it was on my PayPal card, and I'm like, what the hell? So I'm trying to call Tina. I'm like, did you have an auto thing coming out? And she's like, and before I could even get a hold of her, bing, a second one. First one was for $99.99. The second one was for $299.99.
Whoa.
And I'm like, fuck this. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, so I hurry up and I text Tina. I'm like, hey, somebody, PayPal is fucked up. So we hurry up and get a hold of them. And we're like, so we track it because they had used the card and not my PayPal account. So they used my PayPal card number and not my account number. I tracked it. They were using it for overseas cash transfers. And they tried to do it a third time, but I have I think $400 a day limit.
Yeah.
Or 600 or something. I can't remember what I was off the top of my head. Probably but they tried to do $399, and it knocked them out before I could even get a hold. So these people are literally probably setting in the place going, yeah, okay, try that. Okay, that worked. Okay, do that one. Okay, that one worked. I'll do that one. And that one doesn't work. Oh shit. Okay. And it took me forever, but I did get my money back. But then I had to get my new card, and I had to wait for all that stuff. But luckily I didn't have anything going out at that time. But then shortly thereafter, I ended up ordering the Snake Eyes with Timber. So, and now I'm getting, I just, since I did this, I got a new distributor because I was using Diamond. Diamond is hit and miss. Yeah. Literally, I ordered my Mandalorian helmets. I got them back, God, probably before Christmas. And I'm just now getting the second wave.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's months later. I'm like, I forgot I even still had that on order. Well,
that's all the pre-orders and stuff that I've got out. Wow. Volume.
I have
I've got pre-orders for GameStop, Big Bag Toy Store, Hasbro Pulse, Amazon. One day all this stuff's just gonna hit and it's gonna be boom, flood my door.
Oh yeah.
All the Snake Eyes movie figures, and I didn't get the $10 ones. Those look crappy.
I ordered through Diamond at one point. I had cases of Duke, or I had the initial first wave case, which I ended up getting, and then I had the cases for Gung Ho, Cobra Commander, Red Ninja,
Mhm.
Infantry, and I'm like, sweet, because they all started coming in relatively regularly. Then all of a sudden, nothing.
Hmm.
Didn't get anything. I'm like, okay, and then I started seeing Zartan in the stores, and then I started seeing Duke, and then I was like, okay,
See him on Facebook.
yeah, I saw it. Well, the thing is, though, is
That's like now you get on Facebook and people are like, oh, I've got Breaker, I've got Roadblock Artillery, and I'm like, my pre-order says it's coming in December.
Yep.
And you've got it now.
Yeah. See, I don't understand how these people are getting it.
I think well, they get them from Hong Kong because like as soon as we started to see the major blood figures, you could go on eBay and order ones for like $150, and they were coming straight from Hong Kong or somewhere. And Breaker too. If you go on eBay right now and look up classified Breaker, you could order one for like $150, $160. That's what everybody's wanting.
Well, that's like somebody posted, and at first everybody thought it was fake.
The Major Blood.
Major Blood, because some guy goes, have it in hand, ready to ship. And the damn thing, it went for like $5,000 or some stupid shit like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I have a feeling that's fake. And I mean, because it looked like somebody had used the picture that they showed. I thought, man, it looks like somebody used a Deathstroke figure and tweaked it to make it look like, used the packaging, tweaked, and then it ends up being real.
Yeah.
But this guy had that shit like one figure like a month before anybody even saw the figure. I'm like, how the hell are you getting a figure before
somebody somehow got it out of the factory?
Yeah,
must be.
See, that's what's funny about living around here is Hasbro was in Kenner and shit was in Cincinnati Kenner was in Cincinnati forever. And
was it?
yeah, and then we would get like prototypes floating around out here.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. Years ago I got a box, and it was in the 90s when they were re-releasing the GI Joes with the O-rings.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing repaints, and what they were doing is like almost kit bashing the figures to make a newer version of an old figure. But I got this box and I opened it up, and like they're not painted there, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I found out it was a box that wasn't supposed to get out. It was all prototypes except for like one figure.
Oh wow.
And I ended up selling it because I was like, I like this, but it's weird looking, and I don't really want to display it. It's literally like Gung Ho was like fleshy colored up.
I've seen pictures of those.
Yeah, and he was like fleshy, his where his shirt would be, and his his arms were all just like weird fleshy colored, and then like the bottom of him was like all pink.
I think I have seen some pictures of those. Yeah, there's all kinds of people out there. I mean, there's a lot of people in the fandom that, that's all they collect is pre-production stuff or prototypes and things like that. It's a little rich for my blood. I think a lot of that stuff probably goes for
way too rich for me. And it was cool because I got those, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to parlay these into something I want. So I think I traded them for a comic book collection.
Oh wow. Yeah,
it wasn't like I just got a couple things out of it. I mean, I literally got like maybe like 30 boxes of books out of it.
Jeez.
Yeah. Guy wanted them, G.I. Joe collector. And I'm like, he goes, are you sure you want? Because he knew I was a collector because I had bought stuff off of him. And I was like, no. I was like, I kind of want them, but I don't, because they just I don't want to post them because they're I was like, I want to put them on a shelf because they look so weird. Like they look like they're not done, and because they're not done, but
kind of like the copy of the first Wolverine movie I saw.
Oh yeah, the one with you can still see the
where he's like silver and he's rolling around and stuff.
Oh yeah, you can see where he goes to jump like that, and you can see the wiring, the harness and shit. They
when those things leak out, it's kind of
cool. What was the one that I watched not too long ago, and I remember watching it when it first came out, and it wasn't Hulk, the original Hulk movie with Eric Bana.
Oh yeah,
dude. I watched a bootleg of that, and I found like a CD of it, and I was like, I put it in. I was like, oh.
Seems like I might have seen that because the dogs and everything look really weird.
Oh yeah, his pants kept appearing and disappearing.
Yeah,
because it wasn't finished. It just was not a finished movie, and it was so horrible to watch because you'd be sitting there looking at it, and you're like, suddenly the Hulk would like kind of change colors and then kind of like because
like all pixelated.
Yeah, because it wasn't finished animation. So like it almost that like when they do animated stuff like computer animated, they do what the T pose where they go like this.
Yeah,
you almost expected the Hulk to do that any moment, and then then you go back to work because they're like, okay, we got him back, go.
I don't think there's anything at this point that I'm, so that I have to see it like we said, if it's like Snake Eyes or something, I'll just go to the theater and watch it. And like even in the last year or something, I was ready to go see the New Mutants in the theater. I would have I would have totally gone to see that.
Tina and I went, and it was funny because as soon as they opened it up, and because literally when they closed down Ohio, that was my anniversary weekend. So Tina and I went on that Thursday, and we watched a movie, and I want to say it was Invisible Man, but I'm not saying for certain because I don't.
Okay.
But I know the last movie we saw before quarantine because we went and we're like, oh, let's go to another movie because it was Sunday. And because that was our actual anniversary. So we're like, oh, fuck it. The Hunt's on. We want to go see The Hunt. So we went and seen The Hunt. And on our way back, that's when shit hit the fan. That's when we go in Kroger's and everybody's buying everything. And they're closing down. My mother-in-law closed. My wife's like, they're closing down Ohio. We're like,
yeah.
Oh, shit. And so I'm like, when are they doing? They're like Monday at like 8:00. And I'm like, so I go to the shop and basically I tell everybody, you want anything, you get here now and you buy. But literally the last thing I did was the last thing I went and seen was The Hunt. And then February, so almost a month before quarantine hit, was the last concert I saw. Tina and I went down to Newport and went and seen Highly Suspect. And then we haven't seen another concert. She just went and seen Seether and Three Doors Down last night. And well, not last night, Friday night. And no, last night. What am I? Yeah, last night. Fucking. But when they started opening up the theater, we started going to be able to go out because we went and seen New Mutants, Freaky, Wonder Woman. What was the other movie? We saw another movie.
Tenet.
Yes, we saw Tenet. And where it was like anytime they said that we could go, there was a new movie, we're like, we're going.
Yeah.
We're going to go see a movie.
That's what I said. I was telling somebody, telling somebody on Facebook, I was like, you're probably not going to find a more germ-free place than a movie theater during that time because nobody was going to the movie.
No.
And you might have one employee that goes in and cleans that whole damn theater. As long as that guy's okay, you're okay.
Oh, and they're going.
I had no problem going to the theater.
They're going in wearing a mask. Yeah. They're in there with a freaking aerosol gun.
Hazmat suits, basically.
Yeah. And we went in there, and when we went and seen Tenet, there might have been 10 people in our entire theater. When we went and seen New Mutants, there might have been 8 people, and that's including us.
Even that's a surprise.
Yeah, and then when we went and seen Wonder Woman, it was probably about 40 people.
Yeah, that's not bad.
In about a 100 seat theater. And then when we went and seen Godzilla Kong, that was pretty full. And then when we saw because we just went ahead and went to Pickwick. Usually we go to Huber Heights, but now that we live in Pickwick, not in Troy, it's 5 minutes away for the Pickwick Theater or 35 minutes away for the Huber Theater. And Tina's gets off work at 6 and the show starts at 7. So, we just drive the 5 minutes across town. But literally there might have been 20 people for Black Widow. But then I hear the following day it was packed. So,
Yeah.
but that's another reason why I go on a Thursday, because I hate to say it, Thursdays tend to be lighter than Fridays. So
the only one that we've seen, the last movie I saw before quarantine was the last Star Wars movie, and then nothing until Godzilla versus Kong. And when we went to see that, man, I don't know if there was anybody else in the theater. There might have been a couple people in the theater besides us, but that was it.
Freaky had.
And I know. I'm pretty sure I didn't see anything else before then. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have any problem going to a movie theater then or now.
No,
last concert I saw was Tool. Me and Josh went and saw Tool in 2019, and that was the first concert I'd seen since, geez Louise, 2001 probably. Or 2000. It'd been a long time.
That's like last year. Hell, or in 2019 I saw Clutch twice. I saw them in August, and I saw them again in December. But yeah, December.
And then of course everything, no cons or anything like that. And now we're starting to get some cons again. Have you done any cons this year?
I did one Jim and Dan show. I've been to the toy show that's in Xenia.
Yeah,
I've been to all three of those that were during quarantine, and the
How
first
were the crowds?
What? Oh yeah,
How were the crowds?
Yeah, the first two were really chill. I mean, you had people walk around, everybody had their mask on and stuff like that. Everybody was kind of following the directions to the thing.
Yeah.
That third one, it was packed. It was just jam packed in there. Usually I'm there an hour and a half because I got to go to it before I open my shop. So I run down there, shop for about an hour and a half, and then haul ass back up to Piqua. And I went there and I couldn't even get through it all. I'm like, I got to leave. I got to go now. So literally we got caught in traffic. I had to call Brandon and have him run to the shop real quick and open for like 15 minutes so I could get back to the shop. So
good. Yeah, that's like I went with my dad to a gun show not too long ago, and there was a big crowd there. And I just feel like, everybody's just happy to be out. Everybody wants to be, amongst people and just I can't wait till we get to a con. Somebody said earlier this year, they're like, would you go to Joe Fest? And I said, yeah, if it wasn't in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
But if it was within 3 states of me, I'd have been there for sure.
No, yeah. See, I think I didn't think that the big ones were going to go on this year, and New York's happening. So New York.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, New York Comic Con's happening.
What's the dates?
I'm not sure, but I know
later, or is it still in the summer?
I think they postponed it to fall. Baltimore's going on. So that's like we had planned on doing our show. The worst part about it is this is how bad it was. I had booked the venue, started getting guests, was getting ready to give everybody the venue, the dates. I got the okay on Friday. I was going to give the that Monday was when we were going to start putting up everything and that's of course when quarantine hit. So we went from being on this level to being down here in a matter of a couple of days. And now I got to redo everything because the venue, all new group of owners. So I got to start all over again. And we were hoping for November this year, but literally everybody's trying to pack as many shows in to the end of the year as they can.
Yeah.
So usually like Jim and Dan do 4 shows a year. They're doing 4 shows from June to December. It's literally June, August, September,
so like every 2 months almost.
Yeah. And it's like, and they're not even putting big chunks between them because like I said, the next Jim and Dan show is the first weekend in August. And then we have another one. It's I think the second weekend in September. So it's like a month and a half between, and part of me is like, man, that's pretty close together. I'm wondering how it's going to do, but
we'll see.
I mean, the last show did okay. I didn't do as good as I'd hoped. But
well, I think probably everyone going forward will get a little better than the last one.
Yeah. I think more people are going to be out there, more people are going to be in and visiting and hanging out. So, and there was a lot of people that would normally have been there. Like Aaron from Roma Toys was at Joe Fest.
Oh yeah.
The weekend is Joe Fest. So, and there was a couple other guys that were normally there that weren't there because Jesse was at another show and he's normally there. So,
yeah. Well, yeah. Like I said, everybody's playing catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, and hopefully we'll get back to normal and get to doing shows again. I haven't been to a con really of any kind since I don't even remember when the last one was. It's been 2 or 3 years. Easy. I know probably maybe the last con. Oh, and I hate to say it, was maybe Wizard World in Columbus. The last time I went took all 3 of my kids, and that was shit. That was at least 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
I think the last big show I did was it Cincinnati? One of the Cincinnati shows, and I haven't been back since because I get tired of the I make whatever you want of it is they're all just money grabs. You know, it's $40 to walk in the damn door. Then it's $100 for any autograph of any celebrity.
And then that Wizard World was the worst thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, there is, and it's funny because I joke around and I Wizard World. I think it's funny that they still have balls enough to call themselves a comic book convention. Because they are not. If they said they were a PopCon fest or a PopCon called convention, I'd be like, okay, that's 100% what you are. That's like hearing the rumors. Well, this isn't a rumor. This came directly from Adam Hughes. They forgot him. Yeah, they brought him in, put him in a hotel. No one ever came and picked him up at the hotel to take him to the convention center.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he ended up having to have a fan take him to the convention center. I was like,
jeez.
It's because they're more worried about the Walking Dead and the uber celebs, and to get those guys in there so that they can, that's where they make their money. They spend $30,000 to bring in a guest that charges $100 an autograph, and they get
some kind of percentage of that.
Yeah, I think they get half.
Yeah.
You got to pay them to bring them in, then they get half of whatever they make. So if they get 1,000 people at $100 a pop, if it another $50,000, and so that's like when I first started doing my shows, I started getting these lists for what it would cost to get guests there. And some of the guests, I'm like, wow, really? Only that much? I hate to say it, Sergeant Slaughter was like dirt cheap. Literally at the time, he was like $1,200, and it was if you brought him in and he was close, it was a lot cheaper. But if he had to just come in, if you had to bring him in, like because I think he lives in South Carolina.
Makes sense.
But if you wanted to bring him up to Ohio and he's not doing anything, then it's like X amount of money plus, travel expenses plus, food. But now if he's in Cleveland, the weekend before, and you're like trying to bring him to Dayton, he's like, okay, I need a hotel room and, give me $200 for travel expenses.
Yeah, do a little circuit.
Yeah, because he's already going around, so he's just going to hitting them there. But then you're like these other ones. Like I remember right towards the end, before Stan Lee died, I got the list, and he's like $100,000.
Holy crap!
That's why they kept parading him back out. That's why his management wouldn't let him die.
Oh,
it was horrible. That's like I met Stan Lee in the 90s. a couple of
Yeah.
times. I think I met him in 93 and I think I met him again in like 97. And super nice guy, talked to me for like 20 minutes both times. And it wasn't like, you know, you just like that little quick, you know, oh, here's your signature, go. No, literally, we had a full-on conversation.
That's cool.
And the thing is that I joked around with him. He goes, yeah, you know, I kind of remember that, you know, and it was like, I didn't expect you to, because I wasn't, you know, I'm not deluded. I'm not like, oh yeah, you remember me from 5 years back at that one convention? And what it was it stuck with him because he asked me what my last name was. And I said, Lee. And he goes, oh, you going to work in comics? I was like, no, I said something like, I think that comics have too many Lees.
Too many Lees in comics already.
And I was like, I work on my end, you work on your end. And that kind of stuck with him. But then I hear these rumors like him just kind of like, it was scary because I talked to a guy and he goes, yeah, he goes, they had to have somebody like, your name's Stan. And he like, because he was out of it. And
oh, that bad, huh?
Yeah, it was really bad towards the end. And they kept that's why they filmed like at one point they filmed like 7 Stan Lee cameos all at once.
Oh,
that's why you never see him like really interacting with anybody in a scene.
Oh, okay.
Because those scenes were filmed forever ago. And they filmed them all like in a relatively short amount of time. And but yeah, his management. There's a whole, you look that shit up. That's a major
big
to go down.
Yeah.
Because I guess his there's rumors that his daughter was spending his money faster than he could make it. And I guess before his wife died, she was the same way. So he was never like making money because they were just spending it. But that's, like I said, just go down that rabbit hole. You can look it up. But yeah, he was like $100,000.
Wow.
The best one was like, because I got the list and I got like big name people like Stallone and like Robert Downey.
Oh yeah,
shit like that. Like Stallone was like $1.8 million to show up at your con.
Good Lord.
And he would only sign X amount of autographs. So legitimately, he was like I said,
you'd have to make that up, and yeah.
So you have to get, and he would sign like 1,000. I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna ever make that kind of money?
Yeah.
On like I'm not gonna say 1.8. It was a lot. It was a stupid amount. Same with like Robert Downey Jr. I think he was like 2 million.
Gosh, that's ridiculous.
You're just looking at well, then you get the ones that you're like, why the like the guys,
and especially though, you think about it. Does Stallone really need $1.8 million to come make an appearance?
Yeah,
you know, if you don't want to do it, just don't do it.
Well,
if you've got so much money that you're asking that much, that doesn't mean that much to you. You know what I mean? Just stay home.
They that's what I also found out. A lot of them guys price themselves out.
They don't,
because they don't want to do them. But they will, if somebody does come up with that money, they're like, all right, let's go cash the check. And a lot of it's cash. So they don't claim it on their taxes.
Oh,
that is awesome. A cash fucking deal that you have to,
definitely make it worth it.
Oh yeah. The ones that threw me on how much they charged at the time was the guys from Ghost Hunters. The Sci-Fi Channel show where the guy
Paranormal Jackass,
the bald guy and the
Zach and
at one time the 2 main guys from that show were like $10,000. Yeah, and the thing is they didn't do entire days either. They would do 2 4-hour days.
Gosh,
and
I gotta go ghost hunting.
And one of those was a Q&A session. So they didn't have to sign for like an hour. Like, and I'm like, really? There's no way that you're gonna make that kind of money.
No.
Yes, I got at that time they were hot, they were big on the thing, but there's no way you're gonna make another $10,000. But then what the worst part about it is then the lower level guys, like the other guys that were on the show, one was like $1,200. Yeah, $1,200. Sign as much shit as you want. But then you get the ones who completely changed how they did their stuff. Tom Savini at one point was like $2,000, and he would sign whatever anybody put in front of him as long as they bought something off his table. So if you went up and you had a stack of DVDs or whatever, and you went up and you bought a mask from him for like $50, he would sign everything and take a picture with you. Then it changed. Then he started charging like for everything. It was like that was $20 an autograph. That was $20 an autograph, and then another $20 for a picture. And then that's like back in the day when Lou Ferrigno was another one. He was dirt cheap back in the day, and you couldn't give his stuff away. He was at every Mid-Ohio Con.
He was at the last Wizard World that I went to.
And he would just sit there for hours.
Yeah.
No one would walk up to him. And as soon as he went from $20 an autograph and a free picture to like $60 an autograph, and then you had to pay another $20
yeah.
for a selfie, then everybody was at his table. And I'm like, you dumbasses need to stop paying this stupid amount of money.
Yeah. Perceived value. Wow.
Oh yeah. And it's ridiculous. And that's just but yeah, like I said, some of these people
I don't think I've ever paid for an autograph.
In fact,
I know I haven't, because the first time that I ever was, let's say, solicited was Neil Adams. And I was like, had gone over, and I didn't have anything. I didn't bring anything with me because I didn't know he was going to be at the show. So I was going to buy something, and I was looking through a vendor's stuff, and he was like, well, he's going to charge you to sign that. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah. He goes, if you buy that, he's going to charge you like $40 to sign it. And I'm like, nah. So I walked over there because I wasn't going to buy the book if that was for real. So I walk over there and I look at it, it says autographs $40. And I was like, oh, fuck that. I'm not paying that.
See, the one I liked was it? I think it was a Mid-Ohio Con. I'm not 100% sure right now, but it was the year that Jim Steranko was there.
Oh, wow.
And Steranko would sign one autograph free. No pictures, because he goes, I don't like people taking my picture. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
He signed, everybody got one autograph. And I'm like, dude, if that's what yeah. And then, if you wanted more, you paid more. But if you just wanted the one autograph, he was one autograph. Now you get the ones like Steve McNiven will sign anything you put in front of him if you personalize it to yourself.
Yeah.
And he will sign everything. Like he signed Civil War to Paul. Thanks, Steve.
That's cool.
But the funny part about it is I have the DC and the Marvel encyclopedias. Those big, thick ass books that are like,
yeah.
I have the Marvel ones got, I think, like 40 autographs in it. And the DC has like 25. And I asked him, I was like, yeah, you can write to Paul on the inside because I'm not getting rid of these. These are things that I stopped taking lots of books to get signed. I just have those big ass things. And he just signed Steve McNiven, didn't charge me for it. He's like, you're not getting rid of that.
Yeah.
Because who's going to offer you enough money? Because he goes, what would you sell that for? I was like, I don't know, $500. And he goes, I was like, to be honest, everything has a price essentially.
Yeah.
But my price on this, because where else are you going to get a Marvel encyclopedia and it's literally signed by Steranko, McNiven?
That's worth way more than $500.
Yeah, but yeah, I at that time I just threw out a number. I was like, yeah, I'm not getting rid of it.
That's why I laughed when you said 500. I was like, oh, yeah, you could probably get
that. Was also probably 10 years ago too.
Yeah, way more than that now.
Yes,
all that stuff. Like you see original art, like I've seen so many posts in the last couple of months about why is original art gone up so much, and it's just the economy, man. Everything's gone up. Get used to it.
I've sold a couple pieces now. I kind of thinking about selling. I had one piece that I had a guy who really wanted it, but he will not match my price, and I won't come down because it's a one of a kind. It never seen publication.
Yeah.
It's Josh Metters did a test page for Marvel, and it's Moon Knight. This is right before he passed away, so he got the job for Marvel because of this picture, and he only did one thing for Marvel. He did a Moon Knight variant cover.
Yeah.
And he passed away shortly thereafter, but he got that because he did that test page, and I own it. And I had a guy who come in, he's like, man, he goes, I love that. He goes, what would you sell that for? I was like, I want $3,000 for it. And he's like, well, what is it worth $3,000? I was like, it's the only one there is.
Yeah.
It doesn't, he never did another Moon Knight page, so $3,000. And he's like, well, I was like, it's signed, it's guaranteed. I was like, I knew Josh when he was, I was like, you're not going to, get rid of this. And I was like, because I don't want to get rid of it. So you got to meet my number if I want to get rid of it. And he goes, oh, I got to have this. I got to have it. I'm like, yeah, $3,000, it's yours. Because at the time I found a car I wanted for $3,000. And now that car is like, I can't afford it for $3,000, but
no, I'm sure.
But
suddenly that original artwork's gone up in price too.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's not going anywhere. So he's like, yeah, it's like, if you want it, $3,000. Now I'd probably say like $5,000 because I'm like,
yeah,
since Moon Knight's getting made into a TV series and it's from art, yeah. And no, and I don't really want to get rid of it. So you really got to hit my price for me to.
Oh yeah.
There's only one thing I own in my personal collection I will not sell. I will not sell. That is my giant size X-Men 1.
Oh.
I won't sell it. I everything else, if you throw enough money at me, I will get rid of it.
What's that book go for these days? Is yours near mint or mint?
It's a 9 CGC graded. It's about $12,000, 12, 13.
Okay.
So I told Tina, I was like, when I die, it's like, you can sell everything else off but that. I was like, so, and it's funny because I joke around. I was like, I only wanted 4 things from when I was a kid to being an adult. And I've technically owned all 4 at one point, but I've only got 3 of them now. I have an AT-AT. I have a full set of Stormtrooper armor. I have a giant size X-Men. The only thing I do not have, but I owned at one point, was a Firebird Trans Am.
Oh.
And I didn't have the one I wanted. I wanted the 70s, and I had an 80, I think. So I had the one with the weird front end that I didn't.
Yeah.
I had it. I got it for next to nothing, and then a guy offered me far more than I paid for it. And I was like, at the time it was a good deal, and now I regret getting rid of it because the damn thing was a beast. And it was literally set beside a barn, like half covered with so it didn't get a whole lot of the weather, but it was sort of sun faded.
Yeah.
So it had been like a bright red at one point, and then it was like the color of my shirt. The interior was all cracked from the light, but man, you'd fire that car up and it would go like now.
There's a reason they were popular.
Oh man. And I had a chance about 2 years ago, I found a 72 Firebird Trans Am, and it was, the outside had been completely redone, so new paint, engine was great, the interior was garbage, so they hadn't got that far. And I had the right price, and that's what I would have sold that for, and I would have bought that Trans Am. So, and now I probably couldn't touch that Trans Am for under $10,000.
Probably not.
So,
well, our hobbies.
Yeah, it's one of the things. Like I said, 4 things I wanted. I only need 1 now.
There really isn't anything for me, I don't think. I don't know. Nothing that
And I guess I would love to have the Defiant from G.I. Joe. Just
Jumps out as far as really. I hear that's one of everybody's.
Yeah, that's
or a lot of people's holy grails.
Yeah, that's one thing I never had. I never had.
It was a little past my. It was right at the end of me collecting. So
I think I got the shuttle, the actual just shuttle part. I got that, at a garage sale.
Yeah.
At one point, and that's all I ever had. And I think I sold.
Well, I think they released that separately later, didn't they?
I think so, but
I think so. Without the launch platform and stuff.
Yeah. The only thing I got that's ginormous now is I have the mobile command base still with the box.
Mm-hmm.
That big brown tank that folds out. Yeah, I have that.
Probably the biggest thing that I have is the Terradrome.
Yeah, I still.
I mean, I have the original 1982 headquarters, but it's all boxed up. But you really can't. That Terradrome. I mean, once it's, what are you gonna do with it? It's just in a couple of trash bags in my parents' attic somewhere.
You see, I want one because I almost bought one at the last toy show, but I literally couldn't fit it in my car.
Yeah, they're huge.
I went.
It's like I see people selling them online, and I'm like, how are you shipping that?
Well, I went and I literally took a tape measure with me that time. I was like, I'm buying one this time. And then I went and measured it, and I'm like, yeah, I can't buy it. And the guy goes, why? I was like, it fit in my car. Now I got the Magnum. Now I would just pop the thing, slide it in the back and close the hatch. But I didn't have the van with me, and I didn't have the Magnum.
Maybe there's something wrong with when our toys won't fit in our cars.
Dude, okay, you see them arcade cabinets back there? Yeah. Those were fun. I had to go borrow my dad's truck because I got.
What do you got? 3?
No, I got 4. I got Star Wars, Turtles, Mortal Kombat, and I have the Marvel versus Capcom one.
Oh, okay.
And then I got 2.
That's cool.
I got 2 upstairs, so I have Rampage and
oh my gosh,
the Marvel fighting game, and then I have with all the shit sitting on it. That is the cocktail cabinet for the Street Fighter, Darksiders, that, and then on the bar I have the Space Invaders countercade, and I sold one of them. I had 2 Mortal Kombats. I sold one.
What's that comic box sitting beside you with the sticker on it? Yeah,
that is about.
No, what's the box? What's on the box?
Oh, that is the War of the Realms.
Oh, okay.
From a few years ago.
I thought it could read war, but I couldn't tell what it's.
It's War of the Realms from when all the Asgardian stuff invaded.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what the storyline is.
Yeah, there you go.
I see. I can't tell you what the last Marvel comic I read was.
Yeah, that's K through. I've been putting my shit in order, and okay, that's K through T. That's Carmen through Transformers. Wow. I got all these boxes here, and I've gotten them into the file because I have the app on my phone, so I could put all of them in, so I know what.
Your inventory in it. And
then I bagged boarded it, and I'm putting it in order. I'm slowly working through my own personal collection and rebagging and boarding, putting everything in the system. And I hit like 13,000 books, and I'm only like 3/4 done, or like a quarter done.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I think I've probably got around 3,000 books. I think I've probably got, I don't know how many, 15 or 20 long boxes maybe.
I got 200 long boxes and another 200 short boxes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the thing is that Mark has probably 300 long boxes and probably another 200 short boxes. So
holy cow.
He just collects everything.
Sounds like.
And I don't collect everything. I as bad as that sounds, I've been collecting X-Men since I was a little kid, and I've never stopped. Even when I like sold everything off at one point, I didn't go off those. So I have every issue from I think 60 up.
Wow.
and then I have
all the mini series and two, I assume.
Most of
Mini
those,
specials, one shots.
All the one shots, all the miniseries, and
Even digital, that stuff takes up a lot of space. There's so much stuff.
I have I have all the my app says I'm missing 2 issues, but I know I have both those issues of the Marvel Star Wars run. I have and then there's stuff that I love that is worthless. Like I love DC's Firestorm. I have like 80 of the 100 issues that exist. And so and it's not like I own the 2 expensive ones. So it's not like I have to worry about either one of those. So I was just literally going through 50-cent boxes till I find all those.
Oh wow.
But
yeah.
It's
bad. I remember those days going to cons with a handwritten list of books to find. New Mutants, you have like 15 issues written down.
Oh my god, I hated that. I had I used to use here it is. I used to use these, the composition notebooks, and you would go through there and it'd just be like X-Men, and you have 1 through this, you have to like mark off as you would get them.
I think I must have always had a plan. It seemed like I never had any more than maybe a few pieces of paper, 1 or 2, and there were things that I was looking for, but never a whole lot.
The worst part about it is I got OCD, obviously. I had like certain issues of G.I. Joe I would buy every time I would find them. So
you're like Mike Irizarry from What's on Joe Mind buys all these versions or all these beachheads from 1986. Every time he sees a beachhead, he's got like 20 of them.
Well, at one point I had probably 10 silent interludes, ranging from ratty as shit up to like almost perfect. The Marvel anniversary cover with Snake Eyes in it with the gun with the, I guarantee you at one time I had 20 copies of that.
Oh my gosh.
Because I would buy them every time I would see it because I don't know why. I would always buy it. My whole that's like
Marvel loved you.
Yeah, oh, yeah. My for G.I. Joe, I always snagged Baroness, Snake Eyes, and Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi is one of my favorite characters.
Huh.
And him and Flash, I like the laser troopers. I like the whole concept of those guys. And the classic Sci-Fi, not the one that came out later with the black and gray costume. No, that neon green and silver.
I'm always the first version of the characters. Always going with the first version. That's why I'm so happy to see finally when they released the roadblock artillery classified, the heavy artillery roadblock with the big Gatling gun.
Yeah.
I'm not so jazzed about him having a Gatling gun, but I'm just happy that he's got the V1 outfit.
Yeah, he had that the camo tank top with the brown pants. Yep,
that's what I wanted. As soon as I saw that first roadblock with the V2, I was like, "What? Come on!" I'm like, "We don't want the neon vest and the give us the really awful orangish brown camo looking that the first one had. That's what we need." I can't explain it or describe it, but that's what I want.
I wanted the that's like I wish that we would have got the original V1 Scarlet too, but
yeah. I know.
With like the leotard bodysuit. Yeah, that.
This is one of the best Scarlets ever. I'm not sure what they're called. Some kind of cheesecake thing. This is the best sculpt. And the texture and stuff on her pants. I mean, it's just amazing.
Well, I ordered the
you look at that and you go, why can't Hasbro get that right?
Well, I ordered the Baroness of those, and I haven't got either one. I need to go ahead and try to order them through another one because I ordered the Crimson Guard Baroness and the Black Suit Baroness because I was like, fuck it, I'll just order all 3 of them. And then the because it's the black suit, the black leather, the red leather, and then the first appearance costume. So that blue with like this weird shoulder pad things on.
Oh, they did that one too?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll just try to find that one. Yeah. That's the only one that I've got. I just got it because I got a deal on it, and Scarlet's one of my favorites. So Probably my top 3 are Scarlet, Snake Eyes, and Stalker.
I was like Stalker. And like I said, V1 Stalker. Don't get me wrong, I kind of like the second Stalker because it's just the weird concept of him wearing like the
snowsuit.
Yeah, it's like I remember when he first came
all of a
out,
sudden you take this jungle character basically and put him in the snow, Tundra Trooper.
And I remember getting him, and because I didn't get Stalker, I got him in like a trade. I literally thought it was like a version 2 of Frostbite. I did not think it was Stalker. And then they're like, why the fuck does he come with a kayak? Oh, it's Stalker. Oh, shit. Okay, that doesn't make a lick of sense, but whatever.
I'm afraid that when we do get Stalker, they'll screw it up somehow. That's my fear for all of them. I'm like, because they're going to look at this and they're going to say, it's too plain. And in a way, it kind of is. But I mean, all you got to do is throw a vest on there. Maybe, just gear him up, load him down with gear. Don't just, like you said, what they did with Scarlet's outfit. You're like, what the fuck? I mean, who came up with that?
I think if they updated his camo, maybe even give him the jungle camo, like Vietnam era, that tiger stripe.
Yeah.
Give him the tactical vest and maybe an M16 with like the grenade launcher on it.
Yeah.
And still give him his beret. That would be.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Nope. And that's kind of what I like about
the one that I feel bad that we're not going to get. There's a couple, and we were talking about this on the show yesterday. Mark said, and I'm not sure if he heard this from somewhere. I think he heard it from somewhere, that Hasbro won't do any more Hooded Cobra Commanders because of I don't know, people misinterpreting it as a guy in a hood.
Yeah, you can't have a race. Can't have
Which
commander. He's a terrorist.
Sucks. Like I said, God, fucking racists ruin everything. Yeah. And and then the other one is we'll probably never get a classic Spirit.
No.
Which sucks because Spirit was awesome.
Yeah, that's literally one. Every time I've never sold. I probably sold my original one when I had to when I was a kid. But every time I get a Spirit, he just goes in a box. I've never put one out for sale. I have like 3 complete and maybe a couple, pieces or, missing like his tunic or his, eagle or something. This and, but yeah, I won't get rid of him because I love that character. He's so it's a
good character, and it's such a but so what? We're not looking at it. Yeah, right. We're not looking at it and making fun of it. We're not saying, look at stupid Indian. They don't make him like clean the latrines or nothing. He's a respected member of the team.
Yeah, and he's like a highly respected member of the team. He's the He's one of the trackers. He's the, he's one of the go-to guys. He's the, like Snake Eyes level badass.
Yeah. And I always thought Spirit was just, I mean, they could do like almost like the Billy version, like we were talking about earlier, but that, all things considered, I'd rather have the iconic Spirit. I would like, for me, if I were the director for like the classified line, like you said, I would do like a version 1 Scarlet. I'd basically just do version 1s of everything and just, spice them up a little. Add some seams, add some, whatever, a little more detail here and there, but you don't need to change that much.
No, we need a G.I. Joe classified classic clutch. God dang it! Come with a vamp, because I mean that's not that big. That would only be
pretty big.
It would be like that maybe.
Yeah, be fairly big.
But damn, I mean it wouldn't be a Hiss tank, which and that's what threw me off.
It's funny. I still haven't taken Baroness's bike out of the box. I've never taken it out of the box. I'm just like, whatever. I wanted the Baroness. I don't care about the motorcycle. I'll take the Ram out of the box.
Oh, yeah, because the Ram's cool. Because the coil never existed before now.
Nah. That's what I'm saying. Like we were saying earlier about a new character. I don't want a 6-inch classified Sherlock figure.
No. No, there's and I would like I'd like Doc, classic Doc, not his daughter, original classic Doc.
Yeah, Doc was cool.
I think it's funny that he's like the only one who aged out.
Did
everybody else in G.I. Joe is pretty much still the same age they've always been. Doc is old and like has a daughter who's now a member of G.I. Joe and is now like in her 30s. So Doc is this gray-haired guy. I'm like, how the fuck did Doc get old and no one else did?
Yeah, nobody else docked. He's clearly not doing something right.
Oh, what was the other one? Grunt. Grunt, he aged out. He left G.I. Joe, retired.
He went to college.
He went to college, yeah.
Yeah.
He went to college on the GI Bill, got himself a degree, and now is like a scientist somewhere.
And a co-ed, a sexy co-ed.
So, oh my God, it's funny that they'll give these like really good backstories for guys. And like the fact that Lowlight had PTSD when we didn't know as kids what PTSD was, and they put it in both, that it's obvious. I mean, it was like, what the hell? That was not something that
there were so many messed up characters, like a hit and run. That's one of the ones that I never realized until just recently. I read like Belomo's book and I was like, what? I don't know whether that I didn't notice when I read the file card when I was a kid.
That's bad because I don't even know what it is at this point.
His parents were killed in a car accident.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right.
And his name's Hit and Run.
Yes, God, that's screwed up. Well, that's like I was going.
It's like that's like putting some new recruits in like 2018 and calling them, oh, here's the Twin Towers.
Too big.
What the fuck? What is wrong with you?
Oh my God. But just two big, like strong guys, and they're like, this is Twin Towers.
Be like Earthquake and Typhoon or something. Great huge guys.
Oh yeah. No, you have Undertaker and fucking Sid. What were they? The skyscrapers or something like that, were they?
Something like that. That was somebody. That might have been Sid Vicious.
Well, I know Undertaker was for a minute because it was like Tyler Mane was a member at one point.
Jeez, Sabretooth?
Yeah, he wrestled in WCW before
wow.
Yeah.
I knew he was a wrestler, but I didn't know. I never seen him wrestle.
Yeah, he was not good. That was back when if you were a ginormous tall guy and you were muscular and sort of decent looking, you'd go to the moon.
See Tiny Lister.
Oh my God. But the worst part about that dude had charisma. Yeah. And he couldn't wrestle to save his life. The one that threw me was I watched that match a while back, and it was like when people got killed in the ring, like not just metaphorically.
Yeah.
And
okay.
It was this one guy decides that he's going to no sell The Undertaker and Psycho Sid when they were a tag team.
Oh.
And so this was Mean Mark and Psycho Sid. And and it's a jobber. It's not even like, like somebody you knew. This guy just says he knows so. They beat the fuck out of him. The other guy like bails. He's like,
I bet.
I'm gone. And they just pummel this guy. And I watched ones where like the Road Warriors did it to a guy. The guy took the what was their Doomsday device? They took the Doomsday and he just hops back up. And when he hopped back up, they were like, nope. And they just start wailing on a guy. You did not do that crap back in the day. I always felt bad because I remember watching those matches when I was a kid and thinking, oh yeah, look at it. And then I watch them now and I'm like, oh my God, those guys had no respect for jobbers, none.
Wow.
The Road Warriors just went in there and they were so stiff, they just killed people, like just broke them guys.
And they were big dudes.
Oh my God,
Road Warriors were enormous.
Well, I met Animal. I thought Animal was bigger than that, but Animal's like this. He's not as tall, but he's like, you know, he built like a wall,
wide.
And Hawk was tall, but he was still, you know, like, oh Jesus. I'm trying to remember when I saw them guys. It was a long, long time ago. Holy crap! Yeah, but that's the only wrestling I've been watching, by the way, is old shit. I haven't watched anything new in like, especially WWE, in like 3 years. I haven't watched.
I'm not sure what the last match I watched was.
I can literally
might have been Seth Rollins and Cesaro.
I can tell you the last match I watched, and it was Brock Lesnar winning the Money in the Bank match.
Oh, okay.
That was the last thing I watched. I was like, no, I'm good. No, it's not a thing that needed to happen. Nope. And then AEW, I watched that for quite a while until quarantine kind of killed that. When I stopped having people in attendance, it just wasn't fun.
All the quarantine stuff was hard to watch. Like I tried to watch a few of the WWE things, and it's just dead. It's like you're watching. You feel like you feel like you're watching a couple guys train.
Yeah,
I mean that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You have no sense that this is actually a contest that's occurring between two people at that moment.
It does not feel like that at all. And it's bad because I've actually gone to wrestling once. The last wrestling I went and seen was November 2019, and that was a Pro Wrestling Revolver show. So that was a lot of guys from Impact, some of the guys from like CZW or not CZ, GCW, some of these guys that are now in AEW. So, I mean, I've seen Ethan Page, I've seen Darby, I've seen all these guys before they went off to do their thing. And then I went and finally got to see wrestling, and it was literally in a old grocery store in Connorsville, Indiana, and it was IWA or Trainwreck. I can't remember which one it was because I think they're the same company, kinda. And Ian Rotten's from ECW. Remember Axel and Ian Rotten? It's Ian Rotten's organization, and it was a bunch of people you'd never heard of, but those guys went out there and killed it because they're literally performing for like 100 people. They're busting their ass, and it was funny because it was a tournament, so they went through the whole thing, and the final match was a no rope barbed wire match.
Oh my gosh!
But the night before was look up the flaming dick spot. It's you don't see nothing, but this guy gets his crotch caught on fire, and then he takes a weed whacker at it. And then the guy, instead of doing what he was supposed to do, he gets up and he runs while his pants are on fire. He's literally like 1.5 feet away from a fire extinguisher where he was supposed to be. But he panics and he runs. So he's running through this building, and people are like trying to throw beer and water on him as he runs by to put him out. But that was the night before. And then I watched it. Then I was there the next day, and that's when I got to see the no rope barbed wire match. But you literally, it's almost all death matches over there, and you look under the mat, you look under the ring, and
it's like a hardware store
with glass and broken chairs and you name it. It's like barbed wire baseball. It's underneath there.
Crazy.
Like holy shit. Yeah, they end up.
That's what like almost every Moxley match so far in AEW, I think, has been like some kind of extreme hardcore.
Well, that's where he's
using barbed wire and but I mean, literally every match that he's been in, I think, has been some kind of, he hasn't just done a regular match. You think this is the champion. The champion, was.
I'm not a fan of Moxley. And the thing is, though, is I'm friends with people he used to be friends with. So I know people who personally knew him, and I'm like, I always thought he was dull as shit. I don't want to be, because he could be the nicest guy ever. And I hear he's a super nice guy, and he's super down to earth. That's like he doesn't wrestle for the money. He wrestles for the
Yeah.
fun. He's like, I got the house, I bought a house, I bought a truck, I bought my wife.
Yeah, I've heard him say that he doesn't need to be an AEW.
Nope, he does it for fun. And he's like bought his parents a house, I think, and stuff like that, or not, or like maybe I'm not a whole, whatever. But you hear nothing but good stuff about him. But I'm like, I think he's dull as hell. I didn't like him in WWE or AEW.
I liked him at times in WWE.
Yeah, I don't know. The worst part about it is I liked Seth Rollins when he was Tyler Black in Ring of Honor.
I liked Seth when he had J&J Security, and he was just the ultimate chicken shit heel.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And just cheated all the time, and he would go out there and cut those promos and just laugh and laugh. And he was such an asshole. And I don't think he's ever had that kind of I don't know. He just never had that fire since then.
No,
I haven't seen anything lately, but at least up until when I quit watching, he just hadn't ever been able to recapture that.
They're not allowed to get that kind of heat anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. A couple people can actually get like to a certain level and maybe a little bit above it, but you're never getting past that one level unless Vince McMahon sees you as the golden boy like Roman Reigns. So, all right, man, I just need what time it is. And
time to wrap it up.
Time to wrap it up. So, all right, Jay, I need you to tell me where we can see you at and where you can listen to you at.
Look for sketches on Break Room Sketches on Facebook, or just Jay Cordray on Facebook. You can check out the Talking Joe podcast on, it's called on Facebook, we're Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast. Our website is talkingjoe.co.uk, which it is a United Kingdom site. And on that, you have links to all the different platforms and different ways that you can listen to the show. I used to listen on Podbean before I became part of the show. So that's what I recommend everybody. Just, what I'm familiar and comfortable with.
That's where
new episodes drop. Mark tries to drop a lot of content, usually something every week. They're caught up now with ARAH. So we try to do some sketchbook shows and things like that to fill in those extra weeks. But the Devils we record every other week, and I do the videos for those, and they don't come out usually when the audio comes out, usually a week or so later. It just depends on how long it takes me to edit everything. But check those out on YouTube. Those are what I really like for people that don't have the books in front of them, can sit down and look at the different panels, and the action figures. We always try to put a lot of pictures of figures and play sets and vehicles and things in there too. So it's you're not just looking at Talking Joe on the screen for 2 hours. You're actually getting to see what we're talking about.
Cool. And we are going to have to hang out this summer. So
definitely.
So because it's been way too long, man, since we've hung out. So I'm going to say goodnight, and remember, follow the Group Therapy Podcast on Podbean, YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You find me as Emperor Palpatine on Twitter. That's a long story about me and my kids trying to find our Star Wars names. I'm either Darth Paul or Emperor Palpatine.
My G.I. Joe name was pretty simple. I think Mark gave it to me the first episode. He's like, it's G.I. J, and I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
what can I do? What can I do about I can't change that.
Well, Joe. Everybody knows I love G.I. Joe. And everybody goes, "Oh, did you name Joe after G.I. Joe?" And I'm like, "No, he's named after his great uncle." And they're like, "If his name was G.I. Joe related, he'd be like Snake Eyes or fucking Clutch or Sci-Fi."
Nikki Lee. That's Tunnel Rat's name.
Tunnel Rat's real name. I was like, no, I wouldn't have been that cool either. It'd have been like, what's his name? It's, like I said, I joke around, but literally one of my favorite G.I. Joe characters of all time is Clutch. One of the first vehicles I ever got was a Vamp. He was the first character that came with a vehicle that I got. I loved his backstory. I liked him in the, and so I always joke around. I was like, yeah, it'd have been Clutch Lee.
I always liked, Clutch was just, I liked that he was always flirting with the girls. I liked his file card says, he still calls women chicks or something like that.
Yeah.
And just remember the one, I think it was issue 23 where they captured Cobra Commander and they're in the Alps and him and Cover Girl are waiting in the car. They're like staking something out. And he's like, well, we got some time or something. And she's like, not on your life, dirtbag or something. I mean, it's just so funny.
See, that's a classified character we need, though. Cover Girl.
Yeah.
The traditional, the leather coat and shit, yeah. So
if we could get a good Cover Girl figure.
Yeah, because none of them have ever looked really good.
It'd be the first.
Yep. I
mean, I like the first one. And I hear people say that that's one of their least favorite figures. It wasn't my least favorite. I liked it. I mean, it wasn't a model.
No. But that was 1980.
Yeah, 83.
83 or 4? Yeah. I knew it was early in the run. Because it was what, the third female we got?
No, the second. She was the second female.
I thought it was Scarlet, Baroness, then Cover Girl.
Oh, well. Yeah, if you talk to, I was thinking just the Joes.
Just the Joes. Yeah, it's definitely the second one. So, and then how we didn't get another female Joe until Jinx at that point.
Lady J.
Oh, yeah, shit. Lady J. God damn it. Yes. Lady J. Forgetting Lady J for some stupid reason.
Can't forget Lady J.
No, always love Lady J. That was a great sculpt for the time, too. So.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
ball cap.
Hopefully the Amazon series will be good.
Yeah.
If they're still doing it. I haven't heard anything about it for a while, but
neither have I. I think, who I think should have got a TV series? Chuckles. Give him an espionage show. Freaking, almost like a Mission Impossible type thing.
Yeah.
With him being the leader and then like maybe bring in another Joe or two here and there and have a live action Mission Impossible show with Chuckles being a covert operative. I think it would have been awesome.
There's so many possibilities. And that's what, I think that's one thing that the reason why it's lasted so long is because there is so much stuff. You hear people talk about the different figures. You got snow figures, you got water figures, you got space figures, you got jets, you got everything. Everything is encompassed by the property.
Oh yeah. Oh, you had the Russians.
Yeah.
You had the SAS because you had Big Ben and what was the other British operative runner that we had? I can't think of his name.
I think that must have been later, so I don't know. I knew Big Ben.
Yeah, I remember Big Ben. Maybe it was Bulldog or something like that. I got to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was. I want to say there was another British operative guy. But we got they did. Well, that's like Tina. We've had this discussion before. She grew up, in the 80s and where they were trying to make, girls be girly and stuff like that. She was a huge G.I. Joe fan. Her and her best friend were Lady J and she was Scarlet. So, because Tina had red hair and her friend had brown hair. So it was Lady J and Scarlet.
That's cool.
And they played G.I. Joe. And, that's one thing I always loved about G.I. Joe. It was inclusive across the board.
Yeah.
I remember having, black friends who, they're like, oh, my favorite character is Alpine. I was like,
and like we said, my second favorite character, Stalker.
Oh yeah.
We both love Doc. And when we were kids, it wasn't like we said, oh, I like that guy because he's black. I like this guy because he's got camouflage and a beret.
Yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah. I love a machine gun. I don't care what color he is.
Oh yeah, I remember them first comics, man. He was always up front. Boom. Yeah. I just rewatched the original G.I. Joe Mass Device cartoon. And one of the first G.I. Joes that appears on screen? Stalker. And I'm like, hell, the cartoon, we didn't even get much Snake Eyes, and he ended up being massive. And because they were all about Duke and
Scarlet.
The Snake Eyes.
Your main crew.
Yep.
All right, man. Gotta get.
You have a good night, and I will talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Have a good night, everybody.
Later. Bye. All right. You all have a good day. And remember, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I will see you next week on the Group Therapy Podcast. Later.
Cobra's stolen our plans. He's escaping in the Viper glider. Joe, catch him.
It's the G.I. Joe Falcon glider, flying high in the sky, sailing through the air. He's America's fighter. G.I. Joe can fly. He's a real American hero, flying high in the sky. He's chasing Cobra in a desperate race, soaring and diving in a great sky chase.
You did it, Joe.
G.I. Joe Falcon glider and Cobra Viper glider sold separately. Figures included from Hasbro.
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe.
It's Major Blood in the Cobra Copter. They're after Gung Ho. Get the G.I. Joe Dragonfly Copter. Wild Bill to the rescue. Major Blood, look. Let's get out of here. Cobra's turning tail. Want to lift, good buddy?
G.I. Joe. American hero.
G.I. Joe Dragonfly Copter comes with Wild Bill, other figures and equipment, each sold separately from Hasbro.